So I've done U-joint videos before. I've got one with a hammer, one with a arbor press, one with a vise. And I might have dwelled more on the details, like taking out the clips and so on with it. But recently I was putting ball joints in the Jeep and noticed the instructions for the ball joint press showed how to use it for changing universal joints. So I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. Maybe I'll like it. And so here I've got the ball joint press mounted up in a vise just to hold it still. And here's the yoke out of the front drive shaft of the Jeep. You just kind of use it as your press. Make sure it's lined up so you're pressing the cap through the hole in the ball joint press. And I'm just going to use the impact and start pressing that one out. It does a pretty good job. I mean, it's slow. It's not as slow as using a vise. It's probably a little nicer way to do it than using a hammer, and probably a little less accident prone than using a big arbor press. I kind of liked it. Like any method of pressing is, sometimes it doesn't get the cap all the way out. You might have to stick it in the vise and pull it the rest of the way out, but it at least pushes out far enough you can do that. Here I've reversed it and I'm going to push out the other cap. And as always, as you're pressing it out, you want to keep that cross kind of perpendicular to the yoke. So here you'll see me pushing it back. I back it up a little bit so I can loosen it and get it pushed. Because if it's straight up and down in this situation, it's less likely to bottom out and kind of mess up your yoke. So you just press it as far as you can without bottoming out. I kind of liked it not having a ton of power. It's a little more controllable. Here I'm pulling the other cap off. Then once both caps are off, the old cross will come out of there. Then you take your new cross, just like in the other videos. Remove 2 caps. And then it'll fit inside the yoke. And this stuff is covered in my other videos, but just showing it again. And then we'll insert one of the caps, and while we do that, we'll push the cross all the way towards that cap to hopefully capture those needles as quickly as possible so that you don't end up pushing them down inside the cap. And then again, we'll use the ball joint press to push that cap all the way in. And we're going to push it past where it'll eventually sit, but not all the way into where it falls out of the yoke. So you can see the cap there coming into the inside of the yoke there. Then you can push the cross all the way over to the other side, put its cap on, make sure it slides back and forth so you haven't messed up any of the needles. And we'll press that one in too. So definitely check out the other U-joint videos if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. They're all in the Jeep playlist, or you can search my channel. But I thought it was a pretty neat method. You don't have to use an impact. It would work with a ratchet. Just like always, put the clips back in. And that's all covered in the other videos. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out the other U-joint videos. And click on the Car Suck Gear button to get yourself a t-shirt or a hat. Jeep on!